How's it going, guys? In this video we're going to be checking out my Honda CB250 Superhawk, and I'll be giving you a rundown of everything it took to turn this bike from a rusty old heap of junk into the modernised cafe racer that I daily ride. So the aim with this bike was to get something that was cheap enough that I could tinker with it and replace and work on things, pull it apart basically. And if I stuffed up and it didn't work, it was not that big of a loss. I didn't want to be buying something that was, a $4,000 bike that was perfectly good condition and just start ripping it to bits and wreck it. So this bike was perfect. It ran, it rode, the indicators and lights all worked, so there was not really any gremlins to get rid of. It was just things like TLC basically. So you'll see I've repaired the dents in the tank, resprayed it with a pearl matte white, but unfortunately this tank was full of rust on the inside, so I ended up having to scrap it and get a new tank. The exhaust here was from a low side, got scratched all up the sides, so we had to sand that out and refinish it in matte ceramic coated black. Now we took the carburetors off the bike, as you can see they're filthy, gave them a good polish, and by getting the drill bit, it was a Christmas tree bit, and I wrapped cloth around it. It allowed me to get in all the tight little spaces without just using a toothbrush on my hand. Took a couple of hours, but it was worth it. Now our bars and gauge cluster was replaced by clip-ons, low profile gauges, custom bracketry to fit the ignition in the middle, and it just really sleekened up the bike. So here I'm removing the airbox and the electronics. So the airbox got replaced by the two DNA pod filters, which really gives it a bit more of a modern look, and as you can see here, the metal plate's been welded into the frame, allowing the circuit board to be mounted underneath the seat, which opens up the space, drawing attention to the pod filters. Now that's my original design. I didn't really know what bike to buy, but I knew what I wanted it to look like, and it wasn't this. So I started taking everything off it, labelled all the cables that I'd taken off, like the indicators and things, and sat the seat on there just to see what it would look like. From getting a frame loop, I was able to cut the frame on such an angle that it tied into the original lines of the frame. So as you can see here, it looks like it's meant to be a part of the bike. Following on from the front of the shocks where it curves, it follows that line all the way up to the loop. Now by drilling a hole and running the cables through the frame, you can see there, it's very sleek, there's nothing of it. I really tried to keep a minimalistic approach with this bike, to keep it clean and neat. Tucked in neatly behind the two DNA pod filters, we see an anti-gravity 4-cell battery, which is nice and slimline, extremely lightweight, held in by custom brackets, protected by a rear fender integrated into the bike. Now while these bar end mirrors look cool, they were not practical at all, and they continuously fell out, so I went back to the stock mirrors on that one. We've got the LED park lights that double as indicators, a new plastic headlight which was extremely lightweight, and on the back of the bike we've gone for a 4-in-1, which is the brake, park and both indicators in a strip. Now I know what you're thinking. You're probably excited and you can't wait to build that sweet cafe racer like the ones you've seen off Instagram, but hold on a second, my dude. Before you go grabbing a leather jacket and throwing on a built-weld Ringo, you need to consider some things. Don't be filling up your watch list on eBay with expensive parts like an original gas tank from a Honda CB or some kind of really expensive cafe racer seat with a cowl on the back and all that sort of stuff. And while it might not be as exciting to talk about, you need to focus the budget around things like the brakes, the engine, the clutch, suspension, tires, the functional parts of the bike, because it needs to go properly before you worry about making it look good. If you're going to skimp out on something, make it a $4 indicator off eBay, because if that doesn't work, no big deal, just get another one, whatever, it's fine. But if your brakes don't work and they're cheap crap, you're going to have a bad time. The next thing you're going to buy is probably a wheelchair or a casket, and we don't want that. We want you riding bikes when you're out there having fun. So prioritize those budgets, get the nitty gritty stuff out of the way, and then the fun part of all the cool appearance, aesthetic stuff comes along afterwards. Be safe, my dudes, and I'll see you in the next video.